नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे. Dear Srila Prabhupada, your divine grace have displayed so many exalted qualities during the years that you physically graced this world. In the midst of the most degraded age we live in it, good fortune of humanity to have blessed with your transcendental wisdom. It is our greatest fortune that our lives have been touched by your divine mercy. On this auspicious day, I humbly wish to contemplate on one of the aspects of your transcendence that has greatly impacted me from the very first day I came in touch with you. Your presentation of the purity of the Guru Tattva or the principle of a disciple to such a Guru who is a personification of such purity was most impressive. You uncompromisingly present the truth by severing the falsehood. You teach who the Guru is by your personal example. Whatever you teach is based on highest Tattva or principles of absolute truth. Hence, the new Gurus, you include the entire gamut of Gurus, both within and outside the Vaishnava Sampradaya. Generally, one tends to think that you are referring to cheaters outside of Vaishnava Sampradaya. But in order to teach us deviations in our own Sampradaya, you even point out specific examples of Vaishnavas posing as Acharyas, though not qualified. But unfortunately, this is one issue in your movement that has been and is being compromised repeatedly after your samadhi, eating into the purity of your transcendental mission. We find your instructions playing a most unique role in understanding Guruship post 1977. In order to gain a realistic perception of what happened in ISKCON in 1977, one has to go back in time and see things as they were then. In 1977, after your Samadhi, a few years thereafter, everyone understood without a doubt that Guru is synonymous with a pure devotee. That is, Guru never falls. Nobody in ISKCON even dreamt of a philosophy to accommodate the idea of a Guru falling down. It was not just ISKCON's philosophy, and it's a historical fact. In the following conversation, you clarified that the Acharya has to be a pure devotee, and the idea that he falls down to mode of passion is a concocted one. Akshayananda, I was recently told by one devotee that Acharya does not have to be a pure devotee. Prabhupada, what? Akshayananda, that the Acharya does not have to be a pure devotee. Prabhupada, who is that rascal? Akshayananda, well, he said it. Who said it? Prabhupada, who said? Who is that rascal? The Acharya does not require to be a pure devotee? Akshayananda, he said it. Nitai said it. He said in this context, he said that Lord Brahma is the Acharya in Brahma Sampradaya, but yet he is sometimes afflicted by passion. So therefore he is saying that it appears that the Acharya does not have to be a pure devotee, so it does not seem right. Prabhupada, who is that rascal? I want to know who said. Akshayananda, Nitai said that. Harikesh, Nitai said that. Prabhupada, who is Nitai Das? Harikesh, our Nitai. Prabhupada, oh, our Nitai. Akshayananda, he said he couldn't understand, but he said he thought. Prabhupada, he manufactured his idea. Therefore he is a rascal. Nitai has become an authority. Akshayananda, no, actually he said that he thought. Prabhupada, he thought something rascaldom and is expressing that, therefore he is more rascal. These things are going on. As soon as he reads some books, he becomes an Acharya, whatever rascal he may be. The Morning Walk, 1975, Vrindavan. Many times, new devotees who enter the movement have raised a question to me. Prabhu, it is difficult to believe that such senior devotees who did so much service to Srila Prabhupada would actually deviate and fall for such ambition. This is easily understood from your own teachings about the Sahajiya trap or pitfall that a practitioner of bhakti is prone to fall into if one is not careful. Srila Prabhupada, you said, Sahajya means taking very easily. Everything is alright, now I am perfect. That is Sahajya. Historically, we have seen that Gaudiya Vaishnavism, immediately after Lord Chaitanya's time, had gone through a phase of degradation, mainly because of the deviation arising out of the shallow and cheap understanding of the advanced tenet of Lord Chaitanya's philosophy. The phenomena of Sahajya is the greatest danger that leads to deviation from the purity of original teachings. It is all about taking transcendental attainment cheaply. It manifests as a disturbance in society in the form of unqualified persons imitating advanced and exalted standards, either because they are ambitious for cheap adoration or they genuinely believe they are advanced and elevated. Sahajya is a common pitfall that Sampradaya falls into from time to time. Taking shelter of the instructions of the spiritual master and strictly following them is the only way to stay on track, since some of these Sahajya traps are very subtle and pass off easily as desire for expanding one's devotional service to one's Guru. It passes off so seamlessly and is impossible to detect as Sahajya until after a period of time, disastrous results show up. Phalena parichyate. Unfortunately, after your departure, leaders of ISKCON fell prey to Sahajya traps, one in 1978 and the other in 1985. The first trap was immediately after your transcendental disappearance. 11 leaders appointed by your divine grace to initiate disciples on your behalf declared themselves to be the next acharyas of ISKCON. These 11 were young both materially and spiritually, being in the movement for less than a decade. In fact, the leader among them, Tamal Krishna Maharaj, acknowledged on December 3rd, 1980 meeting, "I can definitely say for myself, and for which I humbly beg forgiveness from everybody, that there was definitely some degree of trying to control. This is the conditioned nature, and it came out in the highest position of all. Guru, oh wonderful, now I am Guru, and there is only 11 of us." Thus, the case of these 11 is clearly a case of being grossly ambitious in taking a position that they were not qualified. They imitated your divine grace in the manner of Sahajyas and initiated their own disciples. The resultant situation that followed such a Sahajya imitation of your divine grace's position is akin to what your divine grace has said. Prabhupada, a patient is thinking, how shall I dance when I become healthy? First of all, rascal, become healthy and then talk of all this. The rascals are thinking like that. You are patient. First of all, cure your disease, material disease, then talk all this, utopian. When I will get rich, how I shall treat, then my wife is disobedient, I shall kick her like this, laughter. And as soon as is kicked on the earthen pots, all broken. Oh, then all prospects have gone. You know the story? Tamal Krishna. What was in the pot? Prabhupada. That a potter boy had got some earthen pots selling. He was dreaming that by selling this earthen pot, I'll make so much profit. Then I shall purchase another batch. I shall make so much profit. In this way, I shall be a millionaire. Then I shall marry. And my wife must be very obedient. Otherwise, I shall kick. So in this way, he kicked over the pots and all of them broken. These 11, being ambitious to become big acharyas, started initiating disciples on their own. The result of imitation of your divine grace is the sad history of ISKCON over years. The self-made gurus, trapped in the clutches of illusion about themselves, have kicked and destroyed all the valuable pots, assets of ISKCON, and rendered it bankrupt both spiritually and materially. The disaster forced thousands to leave ISKCON, thus rendering the movement bereft of their valuable services. When these self-declared acharyas fell down one after another, thousands of innocent disciples were left shattered and spiritually abandoned. This is clearly nothing short of spiritual abuse of jivas. Everyone is familiar with $1 million lawsuit that hundreds of materially abused children slapped on ISKCON leadership. Bigger lawsuits wait in the court of Yamaraj for spiritual abuse of thousands of innocent souls who stepped into ISKCON to surrender to your lotus feet. Calamity after calamity has befallen the Sahajyas, imitators of your divine grace. These fall downs were not merely accidental, but they were also steeped in deceit. All of these fallen Sahajyas had become habituated to illicit activities for extended periods of time before they were finally exposed to the world. On the one side, they were pretending to be pure and receiving worship like pure devotees as good as Krishna, and on the other side, they were simultaneously involved in illicit activities behind closed doors. Quote, just like Rupa Goswami has given, Shruti Smriti Purana Adi Pancharatrika Vidhim Vina Aikantiki Harir Bhaktir Utpatyeva Kalpate is Utpata, disturbance. If you do not follow the principles of Shruti, Smriti, Purana, Pancharatra Vidhi, without following this principle, the so-called devotional service, Hari Bhakti, Utpata, simply disturbance, simply a disturbance. These Sahajya devotion, that is from Nectar of Devotion, these Sahajya deviations among leaders in ISKCON have created a disturbance due to the violation of the most important principle of devotional service. What is the principle they violated? Their act of becoming gurus and accepting disciples without qualification and authorization. By the year 1984-85, these fall downs had become an embarrassment to the whole movement. There was questioning and rebellion from the rank and file devotees against the then leadership by a 50-man committee seeking reforms. Ironically, many members of the 50-man committee were philosophically bribed into becoming guru themselves that year. They disregarded and ignored the clear direction order on initiation given by Srila Prabhupada in black and white, explaining it off as non-traditional and calling it as a loan document. However, the glaring fact is that the direction was addressed to the entire GBC and all temple presidents, as if the spiritual master has to repeat himself over and over in order to convey himself. This resulted in rampant multiplication of the cancer of Sahajya. Today there are more than 100 malignant tumors attacking the body of ISKCON. Thousands of innocent souls seeking shelter of your divine grace are misdirected into the faith that these persons are their personal gurus, to be revered and worshipped as per standards taught by you in the matter of perceiving and treating a bona fide guru by any sincere disciple. Your divine grace did never taught of any kind of semi-qualified bona fide guru with a lower standard of reverence and worship like once a year Vyas Puja, etc. from the disciple. Instead of addressing the root of the problem, which is the disobedience of the order of the spiritual master, in 1985 the GBC fell into the next Sahajya trap. What exactly was the trap? They legalized their years of rationalization of fall down of gurus by changing the very philosophy. They conveniently accommodated the theory that bona fide gurus can fall down. Today the ISKCON law book contains a chapter on fallen gurus, suspended gurus, when not to reject a fallen guru, rectification of gurus, reinstating fallen gurus after rectification, reinitiation, etc. This Sahajya theory has made a cheap mockery of our exalted parampara and made a laughing stock of the movement, even to the common man. This is against everything that you taught about Guru Tattva. They have struck at the foundation of truth on which you so painstakingly built your transcendental movement. Srila Prabhupada, you clearly taught that Guru must be a person in the category of Narada Muni. Quote, this is the process of initiation. Disciple must surrender to spiritual master, representative of Krishna. The spiritual master, being in the disciplic succession stemming from Narada Muni, is in the same category as Narada Muni. A person can be relieved from his sinful activity if he surrenders to the lotus feet of a person who actually represents Narada Muni. Further, you teach about the elevated position of the spiritual master from Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela. Such an Acharya or a spiritual master should be considered non-different from Krishna. That is, he should be considered the incarnation of Lord Krishna's potency. Such a personality is Krishna Lingita Vigraha, is always embraced by the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna.